But I think what the government has done is they should understand that they are dealing with an auditor as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who understands the role of forensics. They would need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they actually are owed 6 trillion. So what government has seen is that the fact that, look, because expert has gone into it to look at it and review this debt and say, look, it's not up to 6 trillion. And so what is feasibly owed is what government is willing to pay, not the bogus amount that Gencos are claiming. So these are the issues. You see, the way things are done in this country is quite very pathetic. That people will just take advantage of the loopholes that are present in these systems and then exploit it for their own private purpose.
This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
The Association of Power Generation Companies has rejected claims by presidency sources that 2.8 trillion naira represents a newly verified and final settlement of legacy debt owed to electricity generation companies. In a statement issued on Monday in Abuja, the association described the assertion as inaccurate and misleading, titled APGC Position on Misleading Reports regarding Genco's debt reconciliation. The statement was signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Joy Ogaji. She said that 2.8 trillion naira figure did not arise from any officially included reconciliation process and urged those behind the claim to disclose the basis of their computation. Now, the association maintained that discussions on outstanding debts remain unresolved. Is it miscommunication, or because we had the report that the president settled some amount of debt to this Gencos, and now they are coming out to say this is a misrepresentation. What's the miscommunication here?
Well, I think it will just be in the interest of Genco to take the 2 trillion that the president has graciously agreed to give to them, because that speaks to the reality. You see, we have lived in a country that was governed by a lot of opacity, where costs are not verifiable.
Yes.
And some of these charges and claims can actually not be substantiated with the level of the deliverables of this company. And I think Gencos understand this reality, that these invoices, some of them, can they actually account for them? Because it was like the same situation we had when we were doing the fuel subsidy regime, where like Sanusi, now the Emir of Kano, once argued, while it was CBN government, that Nigerian port that has no capacity to receive one vessel of petrol in a day has a situation where CBN had invoices of 9 vessels arriving on the same day and offloading their product. So what that means is that as long as you can generate an invoice and somebody sign it for you, then it becomes the authentic debt of government. But I think what the government has done is they should understand that they are dealing with an auditor as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who understands the role of forensics. They would need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they actually are owed 6 trillion. So what government has seen is that the fact that, look, because expert has gone into it to look at it and review this debt and say, look, it's not up to 6 trillion. And so what is feasibly owed is what government is willing to pay, not the bogus amount that Gencos are claiming. So these are the issues. You see, the way things are done in this country is quite very pathetic. That people will just take advantage of the loopholes that are present in these systems and then exploit it for their own private purpose. And I think that is quite unfortunate. Absolutely unfortunate. Yes, we talk about Gencos they are generating, and some of all these things were things that were actually not taken. And then you're actually asking government to come and pay for it because they were not used. So you say because you produce it, government should come and buy it and pay for the losses. That is what you're actually asking government to do. Government say, no, I'm not going to pay for losses. I'll pay for actual use, because government is paying electricity bill for what they use, which is the truth. So government is owing DISCO and they are paying DISCO what they owe to DISCO. And you are asking government to come and pay subsidy to you. Government say, I can't pay subsidy. You should be self-sustaining. That's what it is now for them. So if you are generating 5,000 watts, then ensure you sell the 5,000 watts and get your money.
But
and you are also owing massively the gas company. So what government is even emphasizing is that even this one we are going to pay, we want you to go and pay the people you actually took gas from. So how do we balance
this,
what they are owing the gas company and what they are claiming the federal government is owing them?
This unresolved GENCO debt, do you think it might affect electricity supply in the future?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think that people should come to reality that we at a crossroad as a country. Revenue is not flowing in yet the way people want to see it. And so government has to be frugal in how it spends its money. Government has to be frugal in how it spends its money. But don't forget that GENCO itself is also a government entity. And so government has access to all the records and the book. And these figures that we're talking about were figures that predated even the privatization exercise that was done by government, which was in 2010. So you are carrying, even in accounting principles, they are what they call bad debts. Principle of bad debt. So get to some certain level and say these debts, they are bad because even the bank itself has written them off their books. So we must understand what we're asking, and people must be realistic. You have inherited so much, there's so much wastage that government has put into this GENCO to even generate. How much profit is it coming to government? So these are questions that we have to fundamentally answer, not people just looking at. The same is happening even in the discourse where you see the bills that were not paid for 20 years, they are still collecting it today before they can give you electricity. After they have sold all the assets that PHN ever had. So these are the kind of environment where you find yourself that people are not as transparent as you want them to look like.
If you say this is a bad debt, how will this GENCO survive? I mean, we still have a...
So how do they survive up to today without the debt? That's a question to actually ask.
How do they explain?
Why are they still in operation? If the debt is that significantly impacting, why are they still in operation?
What about infrastructure upgrade? How will they get by?
Yeah, but government is also investing in infrastructure upgrade for the GENCOs. Yes, government is investing in infrastructure upgrade for the GENCOs. You see, and that is what for me, is government should just sell GENCO to private investors.
Would that be a solution to epileptic?
Oh yes, it will be final solution. So everybody buy electricity, so they can produce what they can sell.
But if you say we should sell it, government is in charge, private sector is also in charge. And if we are seeing the result, don't you think it might be worse off if it is totally sold?
You see, some of all these arguments, they are difficult to actually balance. Those who are generating and sending to the national grid could tell you, this is what we generated, this is what we supply to the national grid. But we also see what the discos are taking from the grid. So basically what you're asking government to pay for is the waste. And government is saying that I can't pay this so much money for waste. How do we manage it so that we can ensure that it is what we need, it is what we are generating? And then we don't need to pay for waste.
What is costing these wastages?
Yeah, but you see, if you say, oh, you are generating 5,000 megawatts as at today, and discos are taking about 2.5, which is 50% of what you generate. So some of these losses, you say, come from transmission.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them is what is generated that is not used. That's what it is. But I'm really sure that we're even getting up to 5,000. That these people are actually contributing 5,000. Or it's just a matter of documentation. That's what should be established. And I think that's what government is anchoring. So they can't say government has no basis of reaching the amount that it's going to pay. Government has done its audit. He engaged foreign auditors to look at this document and look at their feasibility, whether they were possible. So they are rejecting the audit report. Why would they reject an audit report? If they have things contrary to the audit report, then they should throw it in the public domain to contradict what the auditors have found out. That's a question. So you can't just claim and say, okay, because you put 66 trillion, and therefore that 6 trillion must be paid against. But government said, yes, you said we are owing you, but we want to validate what we actually owe. So you set up an audit firm. An audit firm is telling you this is exactly what is owed. You know, it's like the case of Fortune and audit. So this is what it is. So government contract auditors and auditors have come out with a finding, and government is finding it difficult to see and accept the auditor's report. So this is the issue that Genco had to face, except that they have to produce an auditor's report with the necessary document that actually said that this 6 trillion is actually legitimately owed them.